Hello friends, Psyberry here, and welcome to another Darkest Dungeon How to Use guide. Just to get some nonsense out of the way real quick, remember to hit the like button, share this with a friend who might enjoy it, someone who might benefit from learning how to use this class, and if you feel like it, visit me on Patreon. So today we are going to take a deep dive into how to use Tifa. Tifa was a mod developed by Muscarine. It was released in fall of 2017, and it was last updated in spring of 2019. Role-wise, this class is DPS, kind of a berserker archetype. Has a slew of other additional abilities that open up when she's low health. But let's take a look, first off, at her base stats. At Resolve 1, her base HP is 19. This only ever gets to a 39 at max level. That's basically, it's below average. It's really comparable to a Plague Doctor or a Flagellant as far as HP. So she's a little breakable. The dodge is a little misleading. It's an average dodge, goes up to 25 at max level. But we'll get more into the truth behind that soon. Prot, 0% like every other class that we've covered so far. Speed is above average. It is a 6 at max level. It will become an 8. It is the same speed stat as an occultist, also the Flagellant. The accuracy mod being 0, that's neither here nor there. Every class I've looked at and examined in this way has been the same. The crit here, she's actually suffering from a negative quirk here, but the crit percent goes from 4 all the way up to 8. I would guess this is slightly above average. I think the average crit is about 3% up to a max of 7. And then damage-wise, she actually has some pretty good damage output, as you might expect. She starts out with 5 to 10, ends up with a 9 to 16 at max level, which is, I believe, the same progression as the Highwayman. I could be mistaken. So you'll see she's kind of a shifty, you don't know it yet, but dodgy class who's a little bit fragile and just it packs a wallop. So let's take a look at the combat skills real quick. The first is Beat Rush. It can be used from either the 3rd or 2nd rank. It can be used on both of the front ranks of the opponent team. It's a melee attack with a base accuracy of 95, full 100% damage, crit mod of 3, and it debuffs the target minus 5% to their protection stat. And it will also buff her speed for, I believe, 3 rounds. The second ability here, Somersault. It can be used from both the front ranks. It can be used on the 2 middle ranks of the opponent party. It's a melee attack, and it moves her back 1 in the order. The accuracy base 90. The damage mod is minus 20%, and the crit mod is plus 3. And you'll see here it also buffs yourself for 8 dodge. This I like to use as an opener for her. So you'll kind of notice that she can use this ability from both the middle ranks, but this ability is only usable from the front. So it pays off to have her start in the front, in one of those front 2 ranks, and somersault into the middle. The third ability, Water Kick, can be used from anywhere but the front, and can target either the 3rd or 4th rank of the opponent. It is a melee attack. It moves her forward 1 space, has an accuracy base of 90, a damage mod of minus 25%, a crit mod of 3%, and it debuffs the target for dodge and speed. And that speed debuff is actually pretty big. And the dodge, I think, scales really nicely as you level up, if I'm not mistaken. And this is the trump card that she has at her disposal. She is a transformation class, and she can limit break. But you'll notice here, this limit break only can be used twice per battle. So you don't really want to take her into endless, and if you anticipate on using this limit break. And it has a weird mechanic. It definitely doesn't end her turn in a concrete way when you use these. At least not every time. We'll get more into that later. But let's just learn more about the limit break for now. Valid below 66% HP. In chill mode, it cures blight and bleed, and changes your mode to break. You suffer 1 HP damage, and you buff yourself for 10% damage as long as you're in break. And if you are in break already, this move just changes you back to chill mode. So you'll notice none of these skills are selectable. She enters every battle with all of them. These are the first mode, these are break mode, and you switch with that. It's pretty straightforward. The first of her break abilities, Dolphin Blow, usable once per battle. It is a melee attack usable from the front 3 ranks on the opponent's front 2 ranks. It has an accuracy base of 100, a damage mod of plus 10%, crit mod of 2, and it knocks back the target 3 spaces, all the way to the back line. And then it will inflict 1 HP damage at this low resolve level on herself, and buff herself for 10% damage in the oncoming turns. So this move is a good, it doesn't say here in the tooltips, but this is a free action use. Meaning when you in the combat, the first time you use this move, you will get another attack. Which means you can transfer back into the regular mode, or you can use one of these other 2 limit breaks. Her second ability here is also usable once per battle. It is called Leviathan. It's usable from rank 2 or 3, and it hits all of the enemy lines. It is a ranged attack, the only one she has, I believe. Accuracy base 90, damage modifier of minus 40%. It clears all enemy corpses. And when you use it, you suffer 1 HP damage. That's a little misleading. She suffers 1 HP damage per target hit. I don't think that counts the corpses. I don't use this move a lot, because I typically increase her melee damage, and this gets a little left behind. It will also debuff target, very similar to Water Kick. It'll debuff the entire lines for minus 8 dodge, minus 3 speed. And the final combat move in her kit is Final Heaven. It's usable from the front 2 ranks. It can hit rank 1, 2, or 3 of the opponent's line. It's a melee attack with 110 base accuracy, a damage mod of 20%, a crit mod of 11%, and it has a really high stun base for the target. It will inflict 3 points of HP damage on herself at the lowest resolve level, and it will change her mode back to chill. And it will debuff the target for minus 25% prot. I believe that levels off at somewhere around 40. I think it might have been 45. And I skipped on this Leviathan. It also reverts you back to chill mode as well. So you'll notice combat-wise, she, in her regular mode, 2 of her 3 moves move her around the battlefield. But you'll notice that the real outlier here of where she wants to be lined up, if she's in that second rank, she can use any of these limit break abilities, and also any of these. So you want to be bouncing around that second rank, but you want to land there more often than not. So when building a party, she's going to be moving around when she chooses different attacks, and when she targets different enemy positionings. You're going to want a party, primarily, that can move her back into second rank by using their own movements on their turn to correct. It's hard to do, and I don't think I have a team today ready to do that, but other than that, she has 4 unique camping skills. The first of which, Shooting Star, is a time cost 2 that allows all companions to have a plus 10% virtue chance until the next time they camp. It's not a bad way to stack the deck if you think you're going to have a couple of affliction chances coming up. The next one, Fury Potion, is a time cost 3 party debuff and buff. And the first part is going to lower accuracy of everyone in the party by 5, but it's going to add 10% damage and 2 speed. All of that for 4 battles. So if you're carrying around enough medicinal herbs to remove that debuff, you're just getting a straight up, everybody's getting a 10% damage and 2 speed buff for the next 4 fights. So if you come prepared, not a bad thing to use if you got the points for it. Our third camping ability, Tent, is a time cost 4, party-wide, heal 20% of your HP damage, and heal 20% stress. This is a really good stress recovery ability. Also because it's gonna, oftentimes, if you're camping because your guys are stressed out, you're gonna leave that camp with everyone at full HP as well. It's a bonus point. And you're only using 4 points for that. That's a win in my book. Unfortunately, this Tifa does not have the 4th ability unlocked. I use this often. It is the Steal ability. Time cost 1. You target one of your companions. You produce a random trinket. And there's a 50% chance that you stress out that target for 15 stress. So, it's kind of implied that you're stealing from your party, but you're actually kind of gaining a trinket. So, it's kind of nice in that regard. You can use it a lot like an antiquarian to go and get more out of a run than you otherwise would. Typically, I would use this very early in the camping so that any stress recovery you use will basically wipe out that 50% chance. But we'll see. It doesn't always work out that way. So I already kind of mentioned it. In party compositions, you want to have a class, or you want to have a comp, that is capable of moving her back into position 2. There's a lot of good options for that. Because if you use Water Kick, let's say, to take out one of those backliners, it may be best to pair her with something like a Shield Breaker that will push herself back into position 1 and thus push Tifa back into position 2. It also might help if you can have another person in your party that can move from position 2 backwards of rank. Those are hard to find. I believe something like a Pick-a-Rune can do that. It's really hard for me to remember all this. Yeah, Piercing Volley or a Dancing Shot from Pick-a-Rune can move her from Tifa's desired position backwards and thus give Tifa back her second slot. We don't have a party exactly built on that movement to show this off today. But it should be a party that synergizes fairly well. So I'm going to go jump into a dungeon, show you some couple of highlight fights just to show kind of how she works. Hopefully I have equipped her with a trinket outfit that doesn't increase her dodge. Hopefully that means I might take a couple of hits early and thus can show you her limit break abilities maybe later on. We'll see.
These salt-soaked caverns are teeming with pelagic nightmares. They must be flushed out.
In my mind, some good quirks to look out for Tifa. Might include things like Precise Striker. I have mine dressed up as Korra. Made this just have fun. I would recommend things like Precise Striker. Attacks like Second Wind can help because that'll give you, when she's below 50% health, it'll give her a 10% damage boost. It's not the most
secrets and
good thing in the
wonders
world,
can be found in the most
but it can't help.
tenebrous corners of this place.
Overall, just anything to increase her melee damage, her dodge, maybe her speed. Luminous is always good. Go with that if you can. And I find the different custom quirks from Ringmaster here work really well with Tifa, because the more she crits, the better. She's got a hell of a crit bonus right now. 28% likely to crit because of all the things I have stacked up to enhance that. So you should see a lot of crits here today. And if you're lucky enough and you get the trinkets I'm using, you can pretty much replicate that in your own party. I've got a bleed trinket on my shield breaker. It's the human Duchess Elizabeth's head. I don't know if the generic Duchess has the same trinket. If so, go with that. I like it, at least. So I'm going to try and backflip back into rank 2. And you'll notice, at high level, you get 24 additional dodge when you somersault. It starts out at 8, and that's pretty good at first resolve. But 24, her dodge is up at 54 right now. If there's anything else adding to her dodge, if I had a trinket adding to, a trinket adding to her dodge, she'd be up around 70 right now, and that's insane. Let's get some stress recovery going on over here. It's only been a few days that I've been fooling around, enjoying the Ringmaster, and I have to say I'm in love with that class. Once I know a little bit more about how it works, I think it's going to enter the how-to guide section. I do not know enough about how to play it yet, but it is a lot of fun. Alright, who is going to die in a turn? Not you. Yes, you. So let's finish you off. Oh, you're guarded. That's why. Okay. Well.
Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken.
I love puppets. Alright. If that bleed stuck around. Okay, good.
Remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
Alright, well, let's take this dead-end route over here. This is my goal here, to show you a couple of combats of how this team functions and how Tifa works in it. She didn't take any damage, which, you know, is what it is. Alright.
Another mariner, another misfortune.
Battle number 2. Right, you'll notice both these times, even though the shield breaker and Tifa have
Impressive.
a fairly comparable speed stat, you'll notice the shield breaker's gone first every time. And it's basically the way I've stacked up these trinkets in order to make that happen. I don't know if there's a technical term for it, but I call it speed gating, if that's a thing. I'll go over their stats a little bit after this fight is over to show you what I mean. Put it on you. Why not? Tifa shines all the time. Let's make the shield breaker the number 1 right now.
Unforeseen. Unforgiving.
The stealth move.
Great is the weapon that cuts on its own.
Oh, you didn't even make it worthwhile, your last attack. What a sad, sad man.
Press this advantage.
Oh, double crit. That was intense. Alright, let me show you what I'm talking about here. Notice I've got a couple of plus speed trinkets over here, and then I got one that doesn't edit speed at all. And then I made sure in all my damage trinkets that I did not add speed on Tifa at all. Her speed is an 8, and I've pumped up the speed on my shield breaker up to 14. And I feel like, even though they roll an 8-sided dice and add that to your speed stat to determine initiative, I feel like having 6 is a very safe window. I tried to do the probability math a long time ago. It ended up, unless I made a huge mistake, being about 92-ish% likely that if you are different in speed by 6, that the turn order will turn out properly. So there's maybe a 7% chance that Tifa goes before the shield breaker, which is an acceptable risk, but it's not something I want. She took a little damage in that last fight, it looks like. Oh, that could have been both lucky and unlucky right there. Could have showed off her limit break. Let's, oh, he's gonna die next round. Do this again, try and take out that rear
as the enemy
healer man. Yeah, he's dead. Okay. Noxious Blast you. One more somersault. Let's make our grand entrance a little late. God, I love that class. Come on, hit Tifa or something. You know? Something I can work with. He's got so much bleed and blight right now. 15 damage.
Prodigious size alone does not dissuade the sharpened blade.
Alright, I mean, normally I would try and cut it at 3 fights. I'm gonna go a little longer and see if I can get some how-to on that limit break process. It's nearly a dead end. I'm gonna bypass all this shit. Get straight to the combat. That's what we're here for. As far as trinket mentions go, her best trinkets that are class only, I think the only ones I continually use at late game is perhaps the one that increases her HP and her dodge, I think it is. No, it's HP and crit. It's HP and crit. It's the only one that really gets any use. Her, what is it, support materia? Or something like that. This one. Independent materia. It's the only one that really gets any use for me anymore, because I can just use the Ancestors map, and it's better than the other materia. But the other materia is pretty good at outset. It'll add 15% to your scout chance and your trap disarm. So it's hella useful at low levels. Let's see. Stun you. Give you another turn, bleeding and being poisoned. That should end it. I want her to finish off the thrall. No. Why can't you hit Tifa for like 8 damage?
For death by inches. As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Well, we haven't seen her limit break mode. Suffice to say, as long as you try and keep these other tips that I've already mentioned in mind, and keep her kind of reined in to the second rank, then her limit break, when it pops up, you'll be able to use it almost immediately, and you'll be able to choose whatever move you want from it.
Trifling victory, but a victory nonetheless.
Let's get rid of that, I guess. Well, we'll call it there for now. Thanks for watching. Keep in touch. Stay tuned. We're going to have another class mod next Wednesday, and we're back with LPs this Saturday. Again, check me out on Patreon if you want to. And thanks. Stay frosty.